Well, it's a Monday. It's Monday Malarkey, and so therefore you've got to be on IndieVelo, haven't you? We don't know how many are on the line yet. We'll have a look in a minute, but it's been a momentous day in the history, the short history, we should say, of online racing, hasn't it? Wahoo's announcement today that RGT will be biting the dust on 31st of October. Don't think it will come as a surprise to too many people. It has been sort of fairly obvious that they've aligned themselves with Zwift and they're putting out a lot of offers for Zwift. So I don't think anybody's too surprised that RGT's disappeared. A great shame, a loss of one of our better platforms. But at a time, fortunately, when IndieVelo had come along, and I think really IndieVelo looks like a natural successor for the RGT crowd. Be very interesting how this plays out. Obviously, lots of discussion about this on social media, and I'm just stating a lot of the obvious comments that people will make as to who are the successors of the RGT crowd. First look, my wish is a bit too much like Zwift for me to think that it works, and I think IndieVelo has the credentials in the sense that it was set up for racing, which is really what RGT was all about. So I think we've got the right platform here, IndieVelo. We've had a great first series. This is the first race in Series 2. So everybody's got 0 points on the board at the moment. Remember, the first rider over the line gets 100 points. Second gets 99. Third gets 98, and it goes right down. If we do get over 100 riders on any particular day, you'll get 1 point if you finish more than 100th. We're not near those numbers yet because we're still beta testing in IndieVelo, but we've got it all worked out for when it does happen. We have a ladies' league. They score slightly differently, and it depends where you are in relation to the first lady. The first lady will get 100 points wherever she finishes, and then you work backwards from there. Based on the distances or the number of riders between them. The other thing that we haven't got up yet is the teams category, but that will come. Now, look, this is a brand new course here. It's loopy loops, and it's loops around the velodrome, back up, loops around the lake, comes back to the velodrome, and we'll be doing that twice. So it's usual thing with IndieVelo. When you're on the coast, it's flat, and as you go inland, you will go uphill, and as you come back down, downhill, and there's a little lip around the lakes there that causes little bumps as well. So you can actually see the profile at the top of that little map in front of you. Great graphics again, Damon. ZMS provide all this. Let's see how busy we are on the start line as we go into the winter season. And as I say, only beta testing at the moment, but look at that, nice healthy lineup. It's fantastic, the response. No bots in this. We are a bot-free race. And you can see this race starts by going around the velodrome. A great little addition to the repertoire. 7 seconds to go. 6, 5, 4. Now, we'll go halfway around the velodrome and then we'll leave it and we'll go down towards the coast, the flat section along the coast. Somebody getting a bit of a slow start there, but they're off the front. Remember now, you must not pass the pacer. The pacer is going to only be there for 1 kilometre. Everybody's keeping off the pacer. Lessons have been learned. Nobody's bothering. If you pull up alongside the pacer, your brakes will jam on. The pacer starts at 30 kph, but by the end of the first kilometre, we put it up to 50. Now they're beginning to catch up with the pacer. Just need to be careful that they don't. There's a guy on the front, which is Eugene Korolev. Now I don't. No. See, he's going to get his see what I mean? The green jersey there. As soon as he got next to the pacer, the brakes jammed on, and there's a whole bunch of them. It's just going to happen to them. I see one of the West London riders, and that's what you mustn't do. Going in front of the pacer, the brakes are getting jammed on, and you've got to wait till we're 1 kilometre into the race before you can do this. And you can see everybody getting pinged back. Now, I thought they'd all got wise. Somebody else is about to do this. Look, bang. Brakes go on. You mustn't get next to the pacer until the point where they're... And I think the thing is, I think what's happened, they caught up with the pacer on the downward slope, haven't they? This is what's happened. Because I thought they were keeping off the pacer, but as soon as they went downhill, the pacer's now blocking their. This will be interesting for future races. And we're all experimenting with this now. They're beginning to sort of now. Here we are. The pacer drops now. You can go past the pacer once you go past that. So who's out the front? And straight away, it's one of the R3R riders, Anders Borgert, Julian Fossil as well for Southport District Wheelers in that new strip they've got. Matt James now off the front though, and he's ESPT rider. He's got a nice little gap there over the others. Rasmus Feldball from ECKD and Anders Borgard, another Dane in there. James Bullivant, Julian Fussell from Southport District Wheelers. Good old Tim Humpton in there, current champion. And Morten Vang, who I think is a big contender for this. My old friend Wouter Clays, lovely to see you in here, Wouter. Andy Evans, of course, from West London in this crowd at the moment. Somebody quite off the back there. You can see in the distance one rider definitely off the back, but it's quite a healthy bunch at the moment on this flat bit. It will break up, I think, when they start going inland. It might actually, I don't know, it might actually be... might be Damon. I think no, maybe it's Lisa Snell. So Lisa Snell is probably the rider off the back. Lisa's only done a couple of races on IndieVelo. I know she was WhatsApping me just before the race to say she needed the link so she can listen to the commentary. So I'm pretty sure she's listening. Lovely to have you along board, Lisa, and have a good race. When you turn inland, which is going to be fairly well, I think you're inland now, aren't you? But you're going down to the coast at the moment. When it gets to the coast, it'll flatten out, and then there'll be a climb back up inland. At least about 22 seconds off the others now. This bunch sitting together, I'm not sure. Okay, but a Rulumi in there, that's great. Doug Harf, great to see you, Doug. A fantastic rider. Gordon Jackson. Gordon, are you not... I thought you were out doing fencing. Was it fencing or something else? Badminton, wasn't it? I'm glad to see you here. Eugene Korolov, Neil Walker, fantastic. Eileen's husband, Andrew Walker. We've got the Walker brothers. You need to be quite old to have got that joke. Doug Hart in there as well, I can see. So these are the top riders. 31 riders in the race, which is fantastic. Ignore Group 4 at the back. That's basically the bot. So it's Lisa's Group 4. You can see this is split up. So there's now like 4 groups. You can look on the left-hand side. Again, thanks for that, Damon. It's another great addition to the visuals on this. I mean, Damon puts a lot of work into this. You can see now we're looking at Morten Vang. Now, Morten, I think, if he'd ridden all the races last time around, could have been right up there with Tim Humpton competing for the series. And him and Tim had some great tussles. So we're looking at Morten in the first race at the moment. But it's Matt James off the front, really showing the rest of the field how to do it at the moment. He's got 2 seconds on Rob Miller from R3R. Rob Miller from Georgia, yes, and another trophy winner from the last series. And I actually have all the trophies sitting next to me and all the envelopes. I just need to put people's names and addresses on them and get down to the post office, which will happen within the next 2 days. I have been away, so sorry for the delay, guys. If you're owed a trophy from the last series. Alexei Cayman in there as well. Evan Ostenson, another trophy winner from the last series. Yes, Evan, I've got to get to grips with spelling your address, but we shall do that. So I'm guessing that might be a Luda Kimi at the back. We're watching Julian Fussell. Julian will be the one in the black kit with the yellow and red bands across the middle. 2 of them just chasing on the back of that. I think that's a Pokemotion rider behind him. It's John Samet. I would have thought John would have been able to get on that group. Richard Gate going past him. There we are. Go Aleski Cayman. That's from Yep Tolbell. So go on. Let's see. I think this is the first time you've been in one of our races, haven't you? Another one of the Danes. There's so many Danes in this. At -1%, so they've got up to the top, and somebody that doesn't look healthy. That's John Samet. He's got a dropout, and that's what's causing that. Looks like he's back up running again now, but he's going to have a job to catch them up. But it is. John Samet put out 234 watts, so it's not. It looks to me like he's closing the gap. Actually, 257. He's a good rider. He's certainly won races that I've organised, and yes, gets past that bunch. The one with Julian Fussell in as well, isn't it? You saw there's a West London rider just getting on John's. It's Andrew Walker from Scotland, one of the West London riders, and they're distancing Gordon Jackson from Lancaster with another West London rider, Andy Evans, with him. Thomas Poniatowski, great to see you, Thomas. Haven't seen you for a while, so it's fantastic. Loving to see so many of these familiar riders coming over. And here we have Andrew Walker with two Pokemotion riders, John Summer and Kada Illumi. And look at the distance they've now got on Gordon. Not quite sure if Gordon's just having an easy ride or it's something to do with the terrain. Gordon putting out 290 watts. I mean, that's no mean effort, 42 kph. And yes, you might argue that there's a minus 1% gradient, but we're at the lakes. This is not, as if it's some big downhill. It just happens to be a gradient there. Lovely to see Thomas Poniatowski in the race, riding in West London colours, I see. Actually, I'll have to get in touch. If you want to ride with West London, Thomas, I can add you into the team officially, which I don't think I've got at the moment. I can't remember. Maybe I have, actually. I'll double check who's in. You probably are if you've got the kit, so I've probably already done that, so forget that. Ludwig Karlberg is behind Tomas. That's right. I think Tomas said he'd like to ride with us while his team wasn't set up. So it might be a temporary rider. Sorry. I'll get there in the end. Don't worry. So here we are, two views. This is Thomas chasing solo, some way behind now the group in front, which includes Matt Jones. You do get this sort of thinning of the groups, and they are coming back down from the lake now, the front group on your left-hand side. Hi, Dave. It's Jessica Wright. Lovely to see you, Jessica. I guess you're watching. I don't think you're in the race, are you, Jessica? But thanks very much for that. Jessica riding for our ladies team, and lovely to see you. Thanks for the message. Hopefully, as I say, I don't think you're in the race, but if I haven't seen you yet. But apologies if you are, and if you aren't, we look forward to seeing you in one soon. Jessica's an absolute character from our races on other channels. So here we go. David Jones we're watching at the moment, and he's in good company here, isn't he? Look, Rob Miller, Tim Humpton, Wouter Clays. These are the big Mitja Kovacic and Tony Martin Lake, of course. Morton Vang. Found out for those of you regular viewers, Top Jimmy's name is also Lake, so we have two Lakes in here. We usually have two walkers, not always have two walkers, but we've got Andrew Walker, of course, and Walker as well. So it's plenty of walkers. The Walker Brothers jokes not coming out for a second time, I assure you. So Doug Hart on the front there. Now Doug's a very strong rider. I think he's quite involved in TTs, reading between the lines. I don't know that for a fact, but that was the impression I got. But he's certainly a powerful front runner, and he will certainly. Oh, somebody's gone off the front there. Oh, Morton Veng, and not necessarily surprising. Morton liking the actual gradient here. 430 watts on that little spurt he's put out, and he's created a bit of distance. It's only a second, but it's 3 seconds now. So that's beginning. Rasmus Feldball. Oh, we haven't mentioned Rasmus yet, have we? Rasmus Feldball in that group as well. So this is strong company. Doug Hart deciding enough's enough, and he's got Rasmus on his wheel. Wouter Clays will probably follow that. He won't let that move go, I don't think. And it is Wouter Clays in the unusual. Not used to seeing Wouter in those colours, actually. So I wouldn't have known that was him if he hadn't done that little spurt. But I'm sure Moonriders will get their own kit soon, and at some point he will be wearing Moonriders kit because that's who he rides for. Mitja Kovacic is now. I'm guessing that's a Slovenian flag. I know there's more than one flag that looks like that. But it's minute on my screen, so if you're not Slovenian, I do beg your pardon. Morton Veng's still got that lead though. It's only a couple of seconds on Wouter. Wouter in that blue and green jersey at the front. Rob Miller is in the 3R jersey, and you've got Tim Humpton in white. Last series they were all wearing all white in the Electric Spirit team, which is Tim's team, by the way. ESPT is Electric Spirit. They've obviously got to change it a bit. Go Rob Miller and Event TR, Frederick Foulon. Rob Miller is a terrific guy, and 3R are a terrific team. We've got Soa ECKD as well, and we've got some great ones in here. Pokemotion. It's nice to see some of these teams putting some riders out, picking up some points. And I think as I you may or may not be aware, but we weren't quite happy with the way the team's dynamics worked for scoring points and things like that on IndieVelo, and we've worked very closely with IndieVelo, and just today we now are happy that the team's competition can work. And so whilst I haven't got it set up as they return into the velodrome, so they do a whole lap and then back out again, as I say, the team's competition will be set up. I'll kind of have to work it, it won't be instant after this race, I think, but I'll build it up certainly by next week or the week after. The team's thing should be functioning properly, so that the results are coming up quite good. Brett Smith on the line saying short race tonight, and checking everything's good. I don't think Brett's in the race, actually. I'm not sure why. I know he helped us out last week by turning up for a TT at the last minute as we go behind the trees. This bunch now down to, it's not that many riders, is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders in that group, and Rob Miller, Vorton, Van Ting, Humpton, Mitya Kovacic, David Jones. Oh, it's somebody going up. I think that might be Lisa going up towards the velodrome. So we're back down. We're on lap 2 with these guys. They're going back down to see. Remember from the start of the race. So they're going to do exactly what they've done before. So they all know what they're doing. Somebody else going up the hill. So maybe that wasn't Lisa. It's quite like these bits where you get the overlap and you see the riders going the other way. And it also, if you're not used to IndieVelo, you'll see that the riders are one side of the road. It's one of those platforms that somebody else goes up the hill in the other direction. So I think that's I quite like that. I think it animates it all a bit if you see riders going the other way. Even if you are somebody like that going up the hill, a lot of West London jerseys still going up the hill, so none in this group. I think that's because Top Jimmy's not here. Top Jimmy likes to sort of punch up in this top group, but I think Punch is I think he's punching somewhere else today. Not online. I know he wished us all good luck on the club WhatsApp group. So looking at different groups now, we've got those 3 Pokemotion riders in this group on the right. It's a great kit, isn't it? That orange and black. I'll wait to see what Ratio come up with on this. Oh, that's Ratio behind them, isn't it? So there you have comparison, because I was wondering whether Ratios would conflict with this. It clearly doesn't. Ratio is the black kit with the big R on the back, the orange and black, and the ones with the black top and the orange across the bottom of the jersey are, of course, Pokemotion. So I think it's Jorgen van Beurs in the race. It's Jorgen, isn't it? It's Ingmar and Jorgen. They are brothers, and they both ride for Ratio. Sitting in this group now, Kader Illumi for Pokemotion, and it's Richard Gates, James Bullivant, and I'm just trying to think, is it Evan Zoystensen in there as well, riding for R3R? So Evan, despite he's Norwegian actually, so quite a few Scandinavians doing this. Denmark's really, really good at this. You see Anders Borgaard in the listings further down there. You can see on the left, you can see the Rasmus Feldgaard group has got 10 riders, as we said before. Group 2 is Evan Oystensen, got a trophy from the last series, but already out of Group 1 for this. Group 3, John Sammer, who can win these races, and I think the dropout has cost him dear. But it looks like he's got 6 other riders with him. So this is this group here we're watching. Andrew Walker back out of the next group on his own, I think. Gordon Jackson looking like he's on his own as well. And group 6 to 9, another 4 riders. So as I say, 31 in the race today. It's all bot free. And you can see these groups now. Certainly the group with... that's which one's that? So I'm just getting my bearings here. So we're looking at David Jones at the moment, and David in this group putting out 339 watts of power. That's suddenly 97. I'm not quite sure. He is going downhill. Hopefully he's not dropping off, and that is 303. It's jumping up and down a little bit. I suspect he doesn't really have to press too hard, but he does really want to get on the back of that group, because when they get down to the coast or onto the flat bits, by the lake now, aren't they? 5.6 kilometres to go, so they're back up at the lake. But when David Jones, he needs to stay on that group, because I think if on the flat bit, if they pull away, he's in trouble. But he's got back on anyway, so this group is back to 10 riders at the front. Let's say this is where the winner's going to come from, and I think this is going to be quite an interesting finish because although they've got to climb back up to the velodrome, it's not a steep climb, and if everybody stayed in this bunch thus far, it's going to take a really impressive attack up. And I think you've only got about half a lap. It's just over half a lap when you enter the velodrome, so it's not as if there's going to be a sort of big race around the velodrome. It'd be more like a kind of sprint at the end. So I think the big attacks have got to take on that little zigzag up to the velodrome from the coast. I think these guys are probably all going to be together at the bottom of that zigzag up to the velodrome, and that's where the attacks will happen. That said, quite clearly, off the front at the moment, there is pressure being put on here by Morten Vang and Tony Martin Lake, Rasmus Feldball up there as well, because when it stretches out like this in a line, Rob Miller now push in, and I think when it stretches out like that and it isn't quite as bunched, you can tell that the speed on the front is making them work hard. Now it's just 39 kph. We know these riders can ride faster than that, but do remember that it's not necessarily all about that. There is a wind factor in this. There's an 8 kph wind, 7 at the moment. They are buffeting that because it's it's I'm assuming the wind is the other way around to the way we're looking at it, but I think the wind's affecting them. All of a sudden they're now -2 up to 51 kph. The group not really breaking up, but Tony Martin Lake takes a turn on the front. Wouter Clay's hanging a bit at the back. It's Rasmus Feldball. Rasmus does like to do little digs off the front and cause some damage, and just then see the way he drops on the handlebars there. He's got it's not a whole second, but there is daylight between him and the rest of the bunch. Be interesting to see how he does that. You can see the course here again. You go down those hairpins down to the sea, round the bend, and this is where they're going to fight it, up those hairpins, and that's sort of like 2/3 of a lap of the velodrome. So that's where I think it's going to be fought out, on those little hairpins in the bottom left of that map. As we go back, we're looking at Doug Hart on the front at the moment. David Jones just behind him. This group's still bunched together, and I think all 10 are there, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I can only count 9. But Frederick Fulong will be riding again on IV. Great racing platform. You're absolutely right, Frederick Fulong. Thanks very much for your message. Good to see you. Doug Hart now pulling away. Rob Miller chasing. These two have got a little bit of daylight between them and the rest of the peloton. The chase is on. It's Eugene Korolev who gets up with them. I think it's all going to bunch together. Doug's drifting back into the main group. Eugene Korolev, I think that's a Russian flag there. So yes, that's a Russian flag. Somebody else going the other way again, which always gives them something to look at, I think, doesn't it? So well, we haven't got all 10 in here now, have we? Have we? 1, 2, 3. Trying to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Yeah, so we have got 10 riders in that group. It does actually say at the top in the pink box, Tim Humpton +9, which makes 10. You don't have to have a calculator to work that one out. So here we are. They are back down onto the coast. If you look in the top right hand corner, you can see they go along this coastal strip for fairly sort of kind of. It's actually no, they're by the lakes, aren't they? I think, rather than the sea. No, it is the sea. I'll take it back. So they're going to go along this little sweep for a little while. There is a small gradient here, so just slightly go inland, don't they? But back down to the beach in a moment. But you can see where the hairpins come up after that. So I'd say 1% here, but it's not really a climb in the true sense of the word. And we've only got about 3 kilometres to go. So as I say, it heats up. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have done this course before. I must admit, with the hairpins, my impression when I rode it myself, I was, if it's got hairpins, it must be steep. It isn't. This one is quite a manageable climb. I mean, it's all relative, because if the people around you are stronger, it might seem very unmanageable in comparison. But I think this is quite a manageable climb, and it's going to be the really powerful riders that make this one count, if at all. Somebody else going the other way. It's quite nice with 2 laps, isn't it? Because it's not all muddled up with people getting lapped all the time, but you do get to see the leaders come the other way, and it does animate the race a little bit for you. I'm sure, just do remember that IndieVelo is in beta testing, and it is all about making it robust, functional, accurate, and a robust working platform. And it is all of that, isn't it? And they're turning inland now. This is where the climb is about to start, and yes, 1% at the moment. I mean, it goes up to 3 or 4% from memory, but you can see already Rob Miller pushing it on the front, seeing what he can do. Wouter Clays will handle that, I think. It's Tim Humpton behind him. I think he can cope with that. Doug Hart as well, Morten Vang. They are in there, and this is the 5 that have got away. And maybe not. Maybe David Jones and Mitja Kovacic are going to catch up as well. David Jones has got back on, so that's up to 7. It's Eugene Korolev, Tony Martin Lake, and Rasmus Feldbull, the 1 second behind. It's still not a lot. They go through the Flamme Rouge. That's only a kilometre to go, but they're not at the circuit yet. A couple more hairpins, but we've still got 7 riders. Oh, look at this. We're up to 8 now. Mitja Kovacic, is that Doug Hart? No, it's Doug Hart's at the back there. That was Eugene Korolev, wasn't it, joining the group? So we're up to 8 riders. Oh, there's a little bit of a gap appearing there. 5 getting away. 39 kph, 2% gradient. This is fast riding. Don't make no mistake. There is pressure on the front. It's Morten Vang. We know him and Tim Humpton and Wouter Clays. We know so well. We know that this is top riding, and this little group hasn't split yet. And even I can see there's somebody in 8th position who's not very far behind either. But Wouter Clays, he's timed it to get onto the velodrome ahead of the others. He eats out a second. Tim Humpton is a very fast rider, but the road is running out. It's only 230 metres. Has Wouter Clays got enough? He's being chased down by Morten Vang and Tim Humpton at the moment. Wouter looks like he's going to get it, but Tim Humpton, as we've seen so many times, has a massive finish. He's not going to be good enough this time, though. It's Wouter Clays, Tim Humpton, Morten Vang, and if you want an all-star lineup, you're just watching it crossing the line as Rob Miller rolls over. I think he was 5th or 6th. John Sammer in there as well. I think. No, sorry, these are the riders still on the line. So that was a classy finish. Rasmus Feldbull coming in now, and that's Tony Martin Lake, I think. I beg your pardon. I'm not sure actually. So here we are now watching Jan van der Linden in the Pokemotion kit there, and some of the results on the left-hand side. Sorry, I've got something just blocking that. So, Mitja Kovacic getting 8th place there. Rasmus Feldbull 9th. Tony Martin Lake 10th. So that was the finishing off of that top group. David Jones was 4th. Very impressive. Well done, David. Eugene Korolev 5th. Fantastic ride. Rob Miller being squeezed in at 6th. Doug Hart. I mean, see, Doug Hart comes 7th. You know this is a strong field. And it looks like Jan van der Linden is about to be overtaken by Anders Borgaard. From the R3R rider, just losing out to the Pokemotion rider. Remember, all 3 Pokemotion riders were together, but Kader Alumi and John Sammer a little bit behind, 8 seconds. Looks like they're riding together, but they're 8 seconds off Anders. I say Anders, I beg your pardon, I don't mean Anders at all, do I? I mean Jan van der Linden. So is it Jan van der Linden, or yes, it's going to be Anders Borgaard responding. I don't get the impression that Jan van der Linden, having caught up, is going to contest that, and I think Anders is going to take the next place. Anders Borgaard now coming in for R3R. Look at that, 539 watts. I don't think I can do that. Fantastic stuff. Well done, Jan van der Linden. Jorgen van Beurs for Ratio Racing, I think, is coming in next. One of our favourite friends, and we see another couple of riders coming in here. I'm not sure who the rider they're overtaking is. Maybe that's one of the bots. Kader Alumi, John Sammer now finishing. So we're unfortunately, if it goes to the finishing line, we pick up the other riders, don't we? Richard Gates, we've hardly mentioned you tonight, Richard. Thanks very much for being here. Richard, a regular rider. Glad to see you in there. Now looking at Andrew Walker, who was complaining about the equipment he's bought for another platform, which he decided it doesn't want to doesn't want to exist anymore. Great to see you, Andrew, from Scotland, riding for West London VR. 800 metres to go, but still climbing up that 2%. No fear of Andy Evans Gordon Jackson catching him, I would think, at 29 seconds. But Gordon, as we've seen in other races, can put on a bit of pressure when he feels like it, can't he? So let's not write off that. He's down to 27 seconds as Gordon passes the Flamme Rouge. 27. Andrew's holding him off at 27 seconds. I think they're running out of road at 600 metres to go, and it goes out to 28.29. So I think Andrew's done enough to hold Gordon off here. Andy Evans 1 minute 56 behind him. Tomasz Poniatowski from Poland another couple of minutes behind there, and Damon Bates just in front of Lisa, and quite a good turnout tonight, I think, for a beta stage early season race, and I think this is going to be a cracking series every Monday here on IndieVelo. Big shout out to ZMS who do all the production on this. Damon does a fantastic job. I think one of the best streamers out there for e-racing, VR racing, whatever you want to call it, as we watch Andrew take the into the velodrome, 27 seconds over Gordon, and I think Andrew can just enjoy the view, mountain in the background, no banking on the curves, just stay on the inside line, and look at that glowing finishing line coming ever closer and bursting through it with that moment of satisfaction and glory. Well done, Andrew. And back now to Gordon Jackson, OTR rider. I think that's the new OTR kit. Anyway, great to see you again, Gordon, from Lancaster. I think Gordon said to me the other day something like, I think it was badminton or something like that, whether he does on Mondays, and we might not see him much. So I'm absolutely thrilled to see you here tonight, Gordon. Thanks very much for taking part, and I hope you had some fun. And you can see, it's 36 kph Gordon's riding round it, so he's not sitting up and doing nothing, but he's not under any pressure to fight off Andy Evans, who similarly won't be under pressure to hold off Tomasz Poniatowski. So there we are, that's Gordon coming through. We'll go back to Andy next, one of the West London riders, as he goes through the Flamme Rouge, and the relief that you've only got a kilometre to go, and then of course remembering that it's all uphill, albeit we saw it was 3%, then it's only 2%, not a lot, just a couple of hairpins to go through, and then that last turn into the velodrome for Andy Evans. Looking at some of the finishes here, Jorgen van Beurs at Aracio at 13th, John Sammet at 14th for Pocomotion after getting that dropout, Kader Aluni at 15th, again for Pocomotion. Evan Oysensen, one of the trophy winners in the last series, right down at 16th, ahead of James Bullivant. Richard Gate, Andrew Walker, we watched earlier, and we're now currently 700 metres for the finish with Andy Evans and Andy's work friend Top Jimmy, not here today, remember, which is going to put Jimmy in a bad start for the series, isn't it? I mean, he's probably not expecting to win it, but he could get a good place in the standings if he did all of the races. 13 in this one, but 12, sorry, I beg your pardon, 12. The 13th race is actually on something like Christmas Day, or it was a day you wouldn't want to race anyway. So there will be a race that day, but I'm not including it in the series. So there's 13 races lined up, but the first 12 will count for points, and the last one being at Christmas won't. So if you wanted that explained. Looking forward to this series, and they keep dropping in new routes on IndieVelo. If there are some new routes that I think are really, really good, I might switch some of the later races and put them in, because we like to keep it fresh. Remember on West London VR, we've been experimenting all along. I mean, the pacer at the beginning, and we keep learning because it's all new ground, and I'm sure that in 2 years' time everybody will forget what these early races were like because everybody knows what they're doing. But it was interesting for us that everybody wasn't up with the pacer, and as soon as it went downhill and the pacer's speed being fixed, it suddenly stopped people going downhill properly. And it may be the case that the pacer is perhaps, for this course, better set at 500 metres, for example. Very happy to hear people's comments on that. And to say we've been experimenting all the way. We've done it at 3 kilometres and we've done it at 1 kilometre. But I think on this course, maybe 500 metres is probably about the right distance. Is somebody stopped there because they're broken down? I hope that person finished as we watch Andy cross the line. Always a bit distressing when somebody gets that close to the finishing line and stops. I'm not sure who it might be. So just running through the results again. Wouter Kleijs, emphatic, as we've seen 1,000 times with that man, the Belgian. Tim Humpton, another emphatic finisher, had a good chase, but Wouter had already made the jump. And the little rivalry between Tim Humpton and Morten Vang, I'm sure they're very good friends. Norwegian having to settle finish behind Tim on this occasion. David Jones, fantastic finish. Well done, David. And Eugene Korolev, the Russian, at 5th. Rob Miller from R3R picking Doug Hart at 7th. Doug Hart, such a strong rider, and he did a lot of work on the front today. Mitja Kovacic, another R3R rider, Slovenian, at 8th. Rasmus Feldball, the E-Cycle Club Denmark, ECKD, if you ever see that. They've got a tremendous following online. Rasmus taking 9th there ahead of Tony Martin Lake of IndieVelo Founders Club. Thanks for supporting IndieVelo, Tony. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Thanks very much once again. We're watching Tomasz Poniatowski coming in now, just finishing off at 100 metres. 3 minutes 50 back to Lisa. Maybe we just, I don't know if we can flick back to Lisa or not, but if we can, maybe just watch Lisa for a little while so she gets some coverage, and then maybe that will probably be it. This is in fact a different course, isn't it? This is next week's course, Swings and Roundabouts, isn't it? And we can go back to Lisa. So yeah, this is next week's course, Swings and Roundabouts. This is a newish one as well, I think. I don't think I've done this one before. And you can see that it's, I'd say it's reasonably lumpy. There's quite a bit of climbing, I suppose, but it's sort of kind of long, gradual climbs as it goes around the inside of the island. So none of this flat coast stuff that we usually do. Up, down, and round, it describes itself. Looking forward to that one. As I say, it's not one I'm really familiar with yet, but I do try and have a look at them when I can before the race. So kind of looks interesting, doesn't it? It looks like that one will be broken up by attacks along the way. Looking forward to that. Every Monday here, 7:30 UK time. Here's Lisa, one of our local riders. Lisa comes out on Sunday rides with us, and she has, I don't know how much sort of sway she has in the house. It seems to me that she usually gets the turbo trainer ahead of everybody else in her house. You want to worry when her son comes to one of these races because he's a little bit quick. But Lisa getting the lion's share of the turbo trainer as far as I can make out, and thoroughly enjoying riding in these things. Lisa, when I first started putting on races, which is it's nearly 4 years, coming up 4 years now, Lisa was one of the first people to ride races when I put them online, long before IndieVelo. So she's an absolute gem, and it's fantastic that she's still here in the races and taking part. And I know she's listening as well, so she's probably blushing a little bit as I say all that. So just looking at the results on the left, Evan Oystenson, I think we've mentioned before. James Bullivan with fantastic 17th there to Richard Gate, who probably got less coverage than he should have done. Regular rider with us. Andrew Walker, another regular rider. Gordon Jackson. Now you couldn't. Don't think Gordon's been riding my races as long as Lisa, but he was certainly in for a shout for a veterans medal if there was one. Andy Evans from Bushy in Hertfordshire in 21st, ahead of Tomasz Poniatowski. Yeah, riding for us at the moment. Great to have you on board, Thomas. Thanks very much for turning up again. Your support is absolutely fantastic. And remember, 100 points for first place. I mean, if Lisa's finishing 30th, she's going to rack up about 70 points in the GC. And I think she's the only lady, so she'll actually take 100 points in the Ladies' League. Lee Louie not here today. I'm not sure why Lee can't race or what reason she's not here. But remember, though, the Ladies' League is your best 6 races. So if you turn up 6 times and win, you will have the maximum points. The other thing to watch is I very occasionally chuck in some bonus points into odd races. And if you miss one of those, somebody else will pip you. I think the tiebreaker, although there isn't officially one, will probably be if two people get 6 wins each, given there's 12 races, or if they ended up on sort of 590 points or something each. I think I'd give it to the one who rode the most races. So that's another reason to be here regularly. I say I'm making that up a little bit because there's no official decision yet. So Lisa, 1.1k to go. She's probably looking for. Knowing Lisa, she had some great fitness earlier this summer. She went out and you can see the Flamme Rouge just coming up. She'll be relieved to see that. She suddenly put on some great fitness earlier this season. I don't know how much she's been out on the bike recently and whether or not she's quite up to that fitness she showed earlier in the season, but she suddenly hit a rich frame of form around summer. We all did a club ride to Paris and watched the finish of the Tour de France just before the Champs-Élysées, which was fantastic. And around that time, she was on very, very good form, I can tell you. And it's probably now some winter training for Lisa, I would imagine. And hi to everybody else in the Snell household. If anybody else is listening and watching while we commentate, lovely family down there in Greenford. Very involved with local cycling as well, and other things. So, name to look out for. Absolutely. 800 metres. Lisa getting very close now to the velodrome. Probably only a couple of 100 metres, I would guess, to the velodrome as she pushes up this sort of 3-2% bit. As I say, I think being the only lady, she's short of 100 points in the ladies' league, which is a great start. I think the other ladies will be watching. We have a West London ladies team, so I know Jessica was watching. So hopefully, Jessica, you'll join in some of these. The hills, I think. If you're used to flat courses and other platforms, the hills are quite realistic on this. You will feel the gradients, perhaps more than you do on others. It's a very, very accurate platform, IndieVelo. And if you are one of these people who's effectively been churned out of RGT today, this is your natural home. You should gravitate here. Like RGT, it's not absolutely like RGT. Of course, it hasn't got steering. May do one day. There's other aspects it doesn't have, which I know are sort of planned for. But this is where you should gravitate because this is the racing platform. It's RGT was distinct from Zwift, and I think the IndieVelo, whilst not mimicking RGT, is distinctly the racer's choice for me. It is the one where the races will be best. We say that this is an ever-evolving area of sports, of course. So let's never say never, and never sort of predict the future with too much confidence. But I think as things stand at the moment, if you're falling out from RGT, this is where you need to be. IndieVelo, it is the one. Lisa down to the last 300 metres, it all levels out, and I think she'll enjoy going around the velodrome. Lisa does a lot of triathlons as well, so she does a lot of swimming and running as well as the cycling. And I think it's when she focuses on the other two, the cycling isn't always top of her agenda. But when she focuses, she adds so much to her speed. It's fantastic. So nearly there, 100 metres. You can see the finish, and she knows what that means. She's from a cycling family, and the finishing line now only 60 metres away. So another fantastic race. Thank you everybody who took part. Thank you everybody who watched. You are part of the community. This is what it's all about. It's about you, whether you were watching or you were racing. If you were watching, try and race and watch next time, but we won't judge you. Thank you very much to ZMS and Damon. The work Damon puts into this and creating all these visuals, graphics and production is second to none. ZMS, it is the streamer. If you look out for ZMS broadcasts, they will generally be pretty good. There are other commentators and other races covered by this, not least the OTR ones, and Mark Allard will also do commentaries. So it's a proper team, and it's all set up to cover everything. So look out for ZMS stuff. ZMS, IndieVelo, we're West London VR, and we run the Monday series, Monday Malarkey. Look out for OTR stuff coming up. R3R have got a Tuesday race coming up as well. So Dan Stimson running that one. There's plenty to come on IV, and I think with RGT disappearing, there'll be plenty more during the week to do. So the future looking very, very good. Right, I think I'll go and process those results now. They'll be up on the westlondoncycling.com website very, very shortly. See you next Monday. Bye.